Hello and welcome to the big picture. The Board of Control for Cricket in India is in a state of flux. The Supreme Court has ordered a major and comprehensive revamp in the way it functions and the kind of people it can have as administrators. The order of the Apex Court, based on the recommendations of the Justice Lodha Committee, has also put the onus on Justice Lodha, a former Chief Justice of India, and his committee to oversee the revamp in the next 6 months. The Supreme Court has accepted the Lodha Committee recommendation not to allow any minister or bureaucrat to be holding any positions in the board and also set an age bar of 70 years. The 143-page judgment is unprecedented for any sports body in the country and therefore a landmark judgment. What would be the impact of this judgment on cricket and cricket administration? How much of the Apex Court order can be implemented and implemented without too many problems? And what will be the spin-off of such an order on other sports associations in the country? We will look at all these aspects today with Kirti Azad, former India cricketer and a BJP MP in Lok Sabha, Bhat, senior advocate in the Supreme Court, Surinder, Khanna, former India cricketer, and Pradeep magazine, senior sports journalist. Welcome to all of you. Kirti Azad, are you happy with this order?
Very happy. I also intervened along with Bishan Singh Bedi, and we wanted the reforms. It was necessary. Especially,
is this the kind of reforms you people were thinking of?
Definitely yes, and it should also carry out on the other associations as well. And this is a landmark judgment. We had intervened on the same issues. I had intervened on the issues giving examples of DDCA, where criminal breach of trust 405, 406, 407, 408, 420 is seen with criminal, conspiracy 120B, tampering of evidence 201, and also 467 and 468. So all that was seen. Because this is the kind of corruption not only taking place in DDC, after all it is the Jammu and Kashmir Cricket Association. There is also a CBI inquiry there, as is in the DDCA. The Goa office bearers were caught by the Economic Offences Wing. Hyderabad Cricket Association, the anti-corruption unit, has the file, has seen embezzlement of 142 crores, but the file is lying with the Chief Secretary. Same with Orissa, all this, you can't see the BCCI in isolation with the state associations. Why I say more is because we kept on informing the board, and the board took no cognizance of the fact that all this was happening. It's as simple as that. So now what I'm going to go to court now with all these papers, with Justice Mudgil having given his report on DDCA, which is an affiliate of the BCCI, and by name of past and present office bearers, I'm going to ask as to CBI is already a year, nothing has come out. In Jammu and Kashmir, it's been 2 years, nothing has come out.
So you are saying that whatever problems that you are talking about in the state associations are connected to the BCCI, and these kind of reforms will end the kind of problems which you are talking about?
Definitely. And I'll tell you, since 99, I'm in the Indian Parliament. That is the time when Hansi Cronier spoke about, accepted the fact that he had fixed matches. A CBI inquiry was instituted. And because the politicians had taken over, nothing happened to that inquiry. So these are the people, politicians influence the bureaucrats because they are in power.
Kirti, bureaucrats and ministers are being kept out. You are an MP. You are not kept out. So
see, I'm a sportsman at heart and a politician by choice.
There are a lot of politicians who are MPs who are not ministers, so you have no problem with them being administrators of the board?
If they have love for the game. And I'll tell you, I as a member of parliament, I've been winning my seat for the last 3 terms since 1999. I am not able to find time to go to a ground. How do you expect a minister or a bureaucrat to go and find some time?
We have seen that happening all the time.
Exactly.
We have seen that happening all the time.
That is why we come to this. Okay. That's the reason it has come to this.
Okay, let me get the legal view on this. Mr. Bhat, how do you look at this Supreme Court order? It's quite unprecedented that, you know, a cricket association, a sports body, this kind of detailed order has been given. How do you look at this order?
Excellent order, reads very well, but only thing is, I don't know how it will be implemented. Because the reason I am telling you is that today the judgment has said that these are all suggestions of the committee and it is for the board to implement it. And the same Lodha committee is asked to supervise it. and there is no sanction behind any one of those things. And I don't know, are we living in a utopia, or whether we are only hoping for the better? But otherwise, I don't see how it can be implemented.
Mr. Bhat, what do you mean when you say there
That
is
is
no...
my short reaction for the long judgment.
Mr. Bhat, what is
You see,
it? What
no
when you, sorry,
sanction either.
sorry.
Look,
No sanction.
if
What is it?
anybody,
Please.
no sanction means, suppose there is a law. If there is a law which says that if you disobey that one, so much of punishment, so much of fine, so the way of enforcing, etc. In this case, it is not even, I don't know whether it will be treated as a contempt of court. Because the court has now today, all that the court has said is, these suggestions from the Lodha committee may be looked into by the BCCI, and it is for them to implement it. That is the long and short of it.
No.
Because it is not like, because there is no law behind law. No law means, suppose, I'll give you an example. Today, for example, somebody went to the court saying that Tendulkar should not be using his Bharat Ratna in a commercial advertisement. The Supreme Court said that, well, whatever you said is right. It is today's news. But there is no law which prohibits such a thing. No law means like an Indian Penal Code or one of the provisions which says that no Padma award shall not be used as a prefix or suffix to a name. There is no such law. Though says that Supreme Court said we are unable to do anything. So like that, in this case, the whole thing in this cricket matter evolved. And as soon as probably after Justice Thakur retires, I don't know the next judge who comes what view he will take.
Okay, when this is a new angle you are...
It is not. It is not.
You are giving a new angle to it. Kirti Azad wants to react. Yes, Kirti.
No, the double bench of the Honorable Supreme Court has said that these recommendations have to be implemented within the next 6 months. And if the Board of Control for Cricket in India or anybody else has any problems or clarification, then they can come here. But 6 months is the deadline for the recommendations to be implemented. So there is no way that
is
it
the
can
point
be
which
said.
Mr. Bhatt's point is that if it is not implemented, so what happens? If Mr. Bhatt, is that your concern?
That is number one. That is one of the concern. And my reading of the judgment is that these are the 6 months time is given for implementation. That is it. Because it shall be, it is not a deadline, and then in matters like this, there are several matters which you have given, the time limit has been given, time limit has been extended, etc. Because this is not something which you say that if you don't do it on a day, you will be sentenced to death. No, there is no such thing. Because it is a, the whole thing is a very complicated exercise. A Tamil Nadu society, which is BCCI. BCCI is registered as a society under the Tamil Nadu Registration of Societies Act. And now it has to be modified according to the judgment of the directions of the Supreme Court in a particular way. It's a very complicated exercise, and I don't know whether 6 months with all the, even with the sincerest of wish, if it is not sincere, then it can be any number of clarification applications can be made. I'm not suggesting, because there is no doubt that whatever the Supreme Court has done is in the best of intentions, and probably, I'm not sure, I'm not a cricket expert in this one, but probably it is good for the game. But those who are entrenched in the cricket business may be unwilling to implement it. So it will be a sort of a, if they adopt a work to rule attitude, then I don't know, because I don't think that this is a matter where somebody can be punished for contempt of court or anything of this sort.
Okay, I think, sir, those are very interesting points. Pradeep, how do you react to it?
Well, I think
how do you react to the judgment of the Supreme Court? What happened before and now?
Or you are saying, well, how do I react to what Mr. Bhat has to say?
No, secondly, first is the order itself.
No, order, obviously, we all welcome it. Any cricket-loving person anyone who is interested that the Indian Cricket Board or the Indian Sports Federation should run transparently. Nepotism, corruption and vested interest should not be part of it. He obviously will welcome this judgment. That this judgment has come in itself is a miracle in a way, because I don't think any one of us expected that the board will be forced to change its overall its constitution. And I think I'm not a legal expert. I'm sure the board must, if they listen to what Mr. Bhat has to say, then they will hire him as their lawyer, and maybe it may be welcoming. Maybe his words may be very welcome for the board officials. But I don't see why there should be a problem, because I don't think what Justice Lodha's panel has recommended. It's a constitution which they have recommended, in which they have gone in detail right from the bottom to top. What the state associations to do, what the...
No, all that is fine.
No, what I'm saying is I don't see any problem why it can't be implemented.
My question is this, Pradeep. You have covered sports for decades in this country. You have seen the ups and downs in the way the game, especially cricket, has been played and administered. Ministers and bureaucrats being part of this cricket body. Let us not talk about other sports bodies now. Let's stick to cricket. Has it had a negative influence on the way cricket has been administered in this country, according to you?
Look, it can have a positive influence if the minister and the bureaucrat are interested in the sport, and secondly, if they have the time. I think what happens is what Justice...
in your experience of covering cricket and cricket administration...
I think the nexus has harmed it more than...
What is this nexus you're talking about?
I'm talking, see, why does a politician want to come into, a minister come into the board? He wants to come into the board so that he becomes a visible face. He like Sharad Pawar, for instance, was better known as a ICC chairman or a board president than the ministry he belonged to. So I think all people who come to the board do not come for the love of the game. They come in because it gives them a public face. So just to come in to give you a public face, and then once you are there, the kind of stories Kirti may be able to better explain it. The kind of things one has, horror stories one has heard, how ministers have used the board and used the board's setup, used the board's money even, I think.
Used, misused and abused.
Okay. So, Surinder Khanna, is that the way you look at it? You think that the administration of cricket will improve without ministers and bureaucrats, holding any positions of power in the BCCI, and also how it will impact the state cricket associations?
Well, first of all, I welcome the judgment. It's a historic judgment in the matter of Cricket Association of Bihar versus BCCI. Never ever in the history of Indian cricket, Supreme Court ever intervened in matters of corruption or bigger corruption in cricket or in any other sports. This was the first time. So it's a historic judgment. And we as cricketers and sportsmen who've played for the country at the highest level and for the state for 15-20 years, given our 45 years to the sports, we welcome it. All those who have doubts, they can go to BCCI and they are history now. New people, new ideas, they have to come. Professionalism in administration is required. Transparency, accountability, and Supreme Court in February has termed all these so-called associations and federations and BCCI and all as public servants. They may be private in nature, but they are performing a public function, hence they are public servants. So they are liable for the IPC. Like Goa people went behind into the jail, other people will also go if they do anything wrong. So that's the new era we are visualizing. And I'm sure the fight which Kirti, Bedi Saab and I was part of that team. For the last 10 years, we were telling Supreme Court and Lodha Committee put a stamp on all those things which we have been talking about, and no politician worth the salt ever took notice of that, and they were always brushing these under the carpet for the last 10 years. So we are very happy, we welcome it, and we see it a positive step, not only in cricket, in other sports also where there is corruption. This should be implemented in that. And a lot of young people, poor people will benefit, because on your merit, on your performance, and the money generated into the coffers of that particular sport will be spent on the development of that
Okay.
sport. And
Okay.
if in cricket and cricketers should be the priority. But unfortunately, when the money came into cricket and BCCI, let me finish. When the money came into BCCI, all those politicians who came into it, they were just enjoying the perks.
Okay.
Like Pradeep said, they were just the public face.
Okay.
But before that,
Yes.
there are politicians like Mr. Wankhede who built a stadium,
Exactly.
Wankhede Stadium in 6 months because Vijay Marchand and CCI didn't give them the enough passes
that is the problem.
or enough
But
respect.
there
in
are
6
exceptions.
months. Then we had Mr. Salve, we had Mr. Madhavrao Scindia. They were exceptions, but they had the love of the sport
No, that
and
is
the
problem.
cricketers
That
in
is-
front.
That is where the problem
They
will
never
start.
put themselves in front.
Okay, Surinder, you made your point. The fact is that we tried to get one of the politicians who has been any politician who has been heading or been part of the cricket administration in this country, but nobody was willing to come. Many of us we tried to talk to many people, but they were not willing to come. I just want to make
Just
the point.
one worry I have.
I have nothing
There is a
against them.
case going
I have
against,
nothing
uh,
against
No,
them, my dear,
Surinder.
if they have time for it.
No, that's all
If they
right.
have
That's all
time
right.
for it.
No, that's all right. Yeah.
Okay. The only problem or the worry that I have is that there are cases going against almost 70 to 80% of the member associations of the BCCI, like the CBI inquiry on DDCA and on Jammu and Kashmir. Goa chaps have just now, Goa Economics Offences Wing has caught the Goa players. And there is, from mostly all associations, there are cases either in the Economic Offences Wing or like
So what is the
DDCA.
problem?
The problem is that they should also be solved within 6 months. Because
That is-
if we're going to
that-
implement
anyway,
for 6 months.
I don't know whether the Supreme Court can come
No,
in
I
as
will
far as
go
that
and
is
speak to-
concerned.
speak to
Mr.
Lodha.
Bhat, Mr.
Justice
Bhat,
Lodha.
Mr. Bhat, I want you to address some of the issues which has been raised by the Supreme Court in its order. Now, for instance, 70 years age bar which has been put,
Fantastic.
and keeping ministers and bureaucrats out. All these things which have come out, are these now can these other sports associations also can claim people who are involved with other sports associations? Do you think there has become some kind of a landmark judgment and it can be implementable for other sports bodies also?
Girish, this age bar, etc., can be implemented if the constitution of the BCCI contains those provisions saying that nobody shall hold office beyond 70 years. Perfectly right. But that constitution has to be now amended in terms of the order of the Supreme Court. And that is where I said, look, I don't want to take this into a legal class. It is not even a private limited company, BCCI. It is a society registered under the Societies Registration Act. It has got its own complication. When they implement, they will find it. I don't want to say it beyond that. And as far as the giving directions to the CBI is concerned, CBI is involved in so many cases. Within 6 months you finish, etc. It is an impracticable suggestion, because 6 months they will come and give you a report that this is but that will not be good enough to procure a conviction of these people. Procure a conviction, it has to be a proper investigation. CBI, as you know, they have got their hands are full, and cricket administration, whatever the investigation they are making, I don't think that they can be so easily finished, because these are all matters done by these so-called frauds are committed by experts. It is not a superficial job which they have done. So therefore, I don't think that it is a practical idea to say that within 6 months it can be finished.
Okay.
And implementation of this,
Okay,
technically, these are all matters which can be, once the constitution of the BCCI is amended, this can be implemented. There is nothing unconstitutional about it.
Okay. Pradeep, you think it's going to be easy to get the BCCI to now implement these decisions, amend the laws and amend the rules of the BCCI? Unless that happens, it's not. What kind of resistance do you foresee?
I don't see if they can resist now, because it's a court order. It's a Supreme. They can't even challenge this order. If they had to challenge it, if it had happened in High Court and the Supreme Court had stayed it, Here there is no challenge, I guess. So if there is no challenge, what? It's now Justice Lodha with his recommendations. And as I said earlier, these recommendations are not just one-liners. There is a proper constitution which he has made for the board.
That is one thing, and the,
So-
and
so
the judgment
that
itself is
it will-
143-page judgment. Hai.
No, I'm saying that Justice Lodha's recommendations are in the shape of a proper constitutional amendments in the BCCI. So though it will replace the earlier constitution, and what the worry is, I think that the board members would use proxies in terms of using other people. Like, okay, I'm 70, I can't be the board president, or I can't be the state
This has
president.
happened. This has
I
been
has-
happening in the past also.
Yeah, so those kind of worries are there that you will, like, from behind the scenes you will control. But I guess there are cooling periods.
What do you think of this specific, another specific thing saying that, they can have only 3 terms, and between terms you need to have a cooling period.
Yeah, that's what I was coming to. I think because there will be a cooling period, if I am a office bearer for 3 years, I can't be office bearers in between. I'll complete my 3 terms, but there will be a cooling period of, I think it's 3 years?
Correct.
It's 3 years cooling period. So once I am not in power, somebody else is in power. I don't think it plays out like that I will replace a dummy and he will listen to me. But there are these concerns which, and I'm sure the board will use that route. The office bearers whose interests have been hit, they will try to use that route. Whether it works or not, I'm not sure.
Kirti, another of the order which the Supreme Court says is about, some of the association states in one state, one vote thing. How practical is this? You have states like Maharashtra and Gujarat which have more than 1 cricket teams, and the three teams.
There
in
are
both
4
the
in
states.
Maharashtra,
4 in Maharashtra,
3 in Gujarat,
yes,
and 2 in West Bengal,
yes,
and 2 in Andhra Pradesh.
right.
So by rotation they'll vote, and perfectly fine. I mean, a state like Bihar doesn't have even a single vote. It's the 3rd most populous state in the country. And it was actually known as Bihar Cricket Association before Jharkhand came in.
Right.
But the rules that were framed by the BCCI was that wherever you have the headquarters would be the one who will get full membership. So now the population of the 25 crores, 3rd most populous state in the country, doesn't have a membership. So rightly, the Maharashtrians and everybody will have to do a musical chair and come in by rotation. And I think that's the right thing to do. Otherwise, with 7 votes in 2 states in the West Zone, is very heavily loaded towards them, and they would decide the things that they want to do.
Okay. Surinder Khanna, you think that this should encourage more and more cricketers to get into administration? Was there a problem earlier for cricketers to get into administration? Because we now see quite a few cricketers have got into administration. We have Saurav Ganguly got in, Anil Kumble was there, Srinath was there, Brijesh Patel has been there all the time. You think that now we will see more and more cricketers being able to come into cricket administration? And you think that's a good thing to happen?
I think in every sport, a player who has the experience of playing in the middle, that sports at the highest level, playing all over the world, and also if he's competent enough, like we have the ICC chief at the moment, Dave Richardson, who is a lawyer by profession, and he's doing a great job. He was a fantastic wicketkeeper for South Africa, one of the finest in the world for 12, 13 years, playing at the highest level. And now he is handling the ICC CEO job, and he's doing a fantastic job. So there are cricketers, and if in badminton, hockey or other sports, those who have represented the country at the highest level, I'm sure exceptions out of them are there. Like we have Steve Ovett in athletics, we have Bubka in athletics, in football we have Beckenbauer and many others who are doing a fantastic job all over the world. So why not in cricket in India? We have Kapil Dev, who is a fantastic businessman, Sunil Gavaskar in the past, and now in the young crowd, those who are engineers by profession, like we've seen Shrikant and Venkat Raghavan, Prasanna in the past, and now Kumble, Srinath, and so many of others, who are pretty well educated, and they know how to do the presentations, how to handle the big sponsors, how to have big deals, So they can do both the jobs, They can be into administration provided they are ready to come into it. Big players don't contest elections. Sunil Gavaskar Sahab at one point said,
I would like to be appointed by the President of India into BCCI as President, I will never contest. Because whatever respect I have earned as a player, I will lose it. Because I'll lose to a proxy holder in a cricket association who by virtue of being a non-cricketer, he'll use all the tricks of the trade to defeat me. Whereas I have done so well for the country for 20 years at the highest level.
Okay.
So if cricketers are willing, like Vengsakar contested the election, Brijesh Patel does it in Karnataka, then Shivlal Yadav used to do and Arshad are doing in Hyderabad. Many are willing to come in front, provided it's a level playing field.
Okay.
And also transparency and accountability.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Professionalism, thorough professionalism.
Okay. Pradeep, so you think cricketers, why will come forward now? And you think that, we have always had this problem that all cricketers need not be good administrators. That's another problem.
No, that problem will remain in the sense that basically cricketers are also human beings like others. But what Lodha committee has done is there will be 2 cricketers in the apex body of the board, which will be running the show, because it has made it mandatory that there will be players representative in the apex body. One male, one female. In fact, there will be a women players representative. That means there will be 2 players in the 9-member body which will be responsible for running the show. So, whether a player can get in through elections or not, there will be 2 players always in the board now at the
nominated.
Yeah, the players will form an association, and that association will nominate one representative to be part of the board.
Kirti, you think that would you be interested in getting into administration now? You wear 2 hats.
Well, I'll find it very difficult at the moment being a member of parliament, because I have a huge constituency. Mine is a backward area. But I can promise one thing, that I could not get the days back for those youngsters who lost it because of the whatever conniving games that are played at the various associations because of overage and other things and certificates and other things. But I can definitely promise I won't let any sportsman suffer. And the second thing is that I'll get every single pie from these people that they have hoarded, the corruption, the malfeasance that has taken place.
I don't know whether this. Yes, Mr. Bhat.
I'll do that finally. In court. I'll go in court. I'll see.
No, that I think that's a separate issue which we will have to pursue separately. But Mr. Bhat, very quickly, final words. You think that this can be replicated in other sports bodies?
Before that, I just wanted to tell you that way back in 1989, 6 leading cricketers of India, including Kapil Dev, Azharuddin, etc., I don't think that Kirti was there in that group.
No, he was not.
6 people were barred for 6 years from playing any cricket. The Supreme Court, for the first time in a cricketing matter, interfered, and rest is history. So I just wanted to tell you that in those days, we found it extremely difficult to even to raise the question before the Supreme Court. Today the change is so much. Today the Supreme Court has gone the whole hog even to suggest an entire change of the constitution of the cricket body, which was unthinkable in 1989 when Kapil Dev and 6 others were banned for 6 years. Pradeep will probably recall.
Yes.
He was then covering these items, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't stop in the US.
I say that, look, the wholesomeness of the report, there is no denial. And the sincerity of the people involved is not denying, because all the 3 judges in the Lodha committee, they are all absolutely men of very high integrity and men of who have got no other design except improving the game of cricket.
Okay.
So if the BCCI goes ahead with the reforming, hope it is it will definitely do good to the cricketing.
Okay. But how much the BCCI will be willing to do is a big question which still dangles before all of us. We'll wait and watch. We'll wait and watch how the BCCI will react to it. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue, the big picture same time.